Hey everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Night Show. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Your host Superman in the house as always, and we're gonna have a fun show. We got lots of community polls on at the moment, trying to get your opinions about a Pulse chain, a crypto, things like that, and of course something even more crazy: eggs and chicken. So we're gonna talk about the eggs and chicken, and you can thank not me, but thank Richard Hart for that one. And so we've got a poll on at the moment about which came first, the egg or the chicken. We're gonna get into that too. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord, our links are in the video description. Become a community member today. Only $12.50 a month, so fantastic value. You get all the different stuff that we put together, links about crypto, Pulse chain, of course, the ultimate community. Get in there on that. And if you want to get in on our strategy club, it's the top tier offering that we have. And get into that. The links in the video description for that too. And that will get you into the strategy club. Only $35 a month, which is fantastic value. You go and compare, you will know that it's there. So it's pretty cool. In fact, I'm doing the monthly update for the strategy club today. So you don't want to miss out on that. That's going to be happening today, going to get posted. So that's going to be really, really cool. Now, if you haven't joined our Telegram, that's free as well. We've got an alpha list over there for Pulse Chain. So you can definitely join up to that for free as well. And that's on Telegram. Telegram, we've just opened that up this last 4 weeks. So it's pretty brand new. I think we're well over 300. I think we're heading towards 350 members. I haven't checked today, but definitely checked it out. And we're only getting started. We're only warming up. And so it's going to be a really fun time. We're very, very excited about where Pulse Chain's heading, where crypto is heading, where the US administration is heading. It is all going to be the road to the golden crypto. It's going to blow minds. We are in probably the best 4 years in history. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. You're talking about the greatest society in the world is going to be created under President Trump. And of course, crypto and stock markets are going to absolutely boom with it. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So enjoy the next 4 years because it's going to be completely opposite from the past 4 years we had. It's going to be the opposite. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. Get excited. Hex Vader and house there. Hey, hey, hey. Good to see Hex Vader. Big shout out to the USA. 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 You'd think I was in an American cheerleading team or something. But hey, we're going good. We got DJ Hexkin as well. My man, Superman. hey, good to see DJ Hexkin. Big shout out. And of course, Hamish Kid in the house there. Let's go. Now, if you haven't checked out the Hamish Kid on X, writing some really good little opinion pieces. So you definitely want to check out the Hamish Kid on X. You just type in that Hamish Kid and you'll probably be able to find. So pretty cool. Really liking some of your posts. So big shout out there. All right, so without getting too distracted, if you're on Rumble, if you're on YouTube, definitely share around. In fact, we're going to get into X, and I'm going to get you guys to share the channel around. So yeah, we're going to have MVS back soon. So big shout out to MVS. He'll be back on deck shortly, so we can't wait till he gets back. And let's see here. So repost on X. And sharing is caring, as they say. Sharing is caring. Repost show, I think I say. Repost show on X. And bam, there it is. There's the link. Now let's post that. There we go. That is the link there, folks. Now I don't think I've got any moderators on deck at the moment, but I'm sure they'll pop up soon enough there. All right, so repost show on X and get out there. Sharing is caring. Now, we're going to jump straight into the show. We're going to get into the stock market results, of course, crypto market results, Pulse Chain results, and Pulse Chain news. In particular, we're going to be talking about the which token are you more bullish about? We've got a poll up and running for that, so really keen to get on that. Now, if you're in the chat there, get in the chat and tell me which one you prefer the most, which you think is going to be the best. Pulse, PLSX, Incentive, pHEX, or eHEX, and really take a pick there. Really think it through which one you think is going to be the best one there out of Richard Hart's. We're also going to have a very bullish update from FlexNex. That's an update that's from Dipcatcher, one of our best developers on the old Pulse chain, and now moving to Ethereum to pump the old eHEX there with the second layer protocol FlexNex. So we're excited about where that's heading as well. Anything that adds value is fantastic. So we're big supporters of that on the old Pulse chain and ETH chain there. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to jump into it. We got D10 says, man, that's tough, and I'm bullish on all calls. You got to make a pick. You got to make a choice. That's what it's all about. So get into it, folks. Get into it. Yeah. So let's just scroll down. I'm just going to get myself set here on the old X because I want to talk about a few things. So let's get into the main part of the show. Make a choice. That's all we can say. Make a choice. Get into the chat there. Now, we've got this poll I did yesterday. It's still got 4 hours to go. What is the most bullish thing Richard Hart could do in the short term? for Pulse Chain. And we got comment below with any ideas. Now, at the moment, I think we've had 417 views on it. We got 60 votes, which is not too bad. And we got launch a wallet is the first option. PulseX DAO single side staking. That's the SSS live stream. Of course, everyone's talking about that. And of course, DeFi stablecoin. Well, we've got 4 hours to go on a 24-hour poll. And we seem to have a clear winner at the moment, live stream, with 68% of the vote. So people have been talking about that. That would be absolutely stellar. And I think no doubt that would cause quite a Ferrari. Would it give us a day pump, a 3-day pump, or a 7-day pump? I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I think it'd be pretty bullish, actually. Maybe somewhere that 3 to 7 day mark could definitely be plausible. And especially if he said certain things on the live stream as well, right? About what's coming, potentially. Now that he's defeated the SEC, it's a game on, right? Game on. Now, obviously, what do we else? We got number 2, DeFi stablecoin. That was pretty popular. And third was a launch of wallet and PLSX DAO there at the moment. So if you guys want to vote in this, I'm going to post the link to that. So RH Pumpamentals, I don't know, pump poll. Let's call it that, pump poll. And you guys can go vote for that one. So we've got 3 polls running at the moment. Man, I just came out of nowhere with 3 polls. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Richard Hart pump poll. There we go. Get in there and vote and share that around. Sharing is caring. And of course, I did put on here, comment below with any other ideas. So there was somebody that put an idea down, and that was Tom. He says, upgrade the chain. This will bring a lot more. And I go, I guess you're talking about EIEPs, the Ethereum upgrades. He goes, yes, fingers crossed once Ethereum gets this big one out of the way, the one that's coming up here. It's actually coming up on the 7th of May, I think it is. That we're probably going to go through that actually on the show. Then we can hopefully do one big update. I suppose it will be a hard fork with all the previous EIPs. I give a lot of confidence for the chain developers. We may very well see that. That'd be interesting. We haven't had those so far since the chain launched, as far as I know, on the 30th of May, 2023. So, it's been over 700 days. So that is the first one there. And so get out and vote for that poll. Now we've got another poll, and that is a community fund poll. And this is from Richard Hart himself today. What came first, Richard says, the chicken or the egg? It's an old kid's favorite one from the schoolyard. And we got, I say the egg, says Richard. Whichever chicken was the first, it popped out of an egg first. What say you, says Richard. And so far, we've only got 2 votes. So you got to get out and vote for this. It's only I thought this would have like 1 million votes, but you got to get out and vote for that. So chicken, I'm going to type in the chat, chicken or egg, egg poll, and chicken or the egg. And I'm going to have to decapitalize the eggs there. I was getting a bit carried away. And you can go vote now for that, because I think it's pretty fun. We're going to see what people say. Now, I have my own opinion on the chicken and egg, of course, but some people are reading more into it. So you can go see some of the comments behind Richard Hart's original post. But that is the chicken or egg poll. And that was from Richard Hart, right? So let's go check out Richard Hart on the chat here. We can see this is what his comment was. He's had 53,000 views on this already. And it's been, 9 hours ago. 9 hours ago, he did this post. What came first? And he said lots of people, your friend Somi is, talking the chicken is Richard Hart's charity entity. The egg is Pulse Chain, but PulseX sacrifice. So he's got we've got dirty crypto coffee in the house. Couldn't have the corrupt Interpol notice without SEC corruption first. Corey Costa's in the house. When the chicken poop popped out of the egg, it had a sign that it said, please live stream Richard. I think that's pretty cool. So we've got some good ones there. Steve Hitson there. That's Randy. Let me just. Steve Hitson is Rack and Michelle. There we go. Rack and Michelle's front man. Chicken was first. This is actually pretty simple. You likely got it wrong because you believe in the Big Bang. I can promise you that your great grandpa was not a space rock. That's from Steve Hitson there. So we've got lots of people there. Decentralized me, Christina Hype, big shout out to Christina there. The egg came first. While it might seem paradoxical, the chicken we know today is the result of evolution. And evolution is all about the gradual change. Well, actually, Christina unfortunately doesn't know that essentially evolution's been smashed. Even the evolutionists have fallen away. There's such a thing called new evolution, and of course that is falling away as well. So it's unfortunately a big loss for the evolution. It's pretty much been debunked on just about every element, and so that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, it's pretty. So we'll move on from that. We've got KG in the house there. They were mutually arising, says KG. The egg could not incubate itself. So yeah, it's really you've moved into I guess materialism and versus a god, right? That's essentially the debate you're getting into there. And of course, you know which one I land on, and that is that the chicken came first. So you get in and do your vote. That's what matters. It's all about you guys. Definitely live stream, says DG and Hexkin. Yeah, I think so. I think the sort of people have voted, but definitely get out and vote. We never know. You could swing it. Egg roll or spring roll. That's true too. We could have done one like that. That could have been pretty nice. And tasty. Chicken came first. God is real. Believers cycle. Absolutely, Amish. That is absolutely true. Just some of the easy defeaters are the Cambrian explosion, and of course the Big Bang itself fits into a long Earth view, and with the creator of that. And of course, what makes it even more compelling is fine tuning. Right, you combine the two, the Big Bang and fine tuning, and therefore the universe is designed for life. And then the third one, the mass of the universe is just right. The observable universe is just right for life, and of course the heavy elements that come out of us, the creation of stars. So it's a pretty easy one. Then you get down into DNA of humans. Of course, a whole genetic code. Code comes from an intelligent mind, and therefore that leads to God as well. So pretty much evolution's been smashed, particularly Darwin's version of it. And so it's a pretty much game over for that. And that's why we see a big change. We see a big shift in a lot of people's thinking about all that stuff. So kind of cool. Let's move on into other stuff we got. So that is from Richard Hart. And Richard Hart actually had another post out here too, I think. Let me just go back into that. And let's see here. We got 8 hours ago. The blockchain was invented to replace trust with proof. So idiots, being what they are, have filled up all the space around the blockchain with playing make-believe, the opposite of proof. Demand proof. Raise your bar for belief, verify, and not trust. Verify, not trust there. So demand proof. Raise your bar for belief, verify, not trust. Now, another one for proof, of course. That's a playful word. Is evidence, I guess, is a better way of putting it. Very few things. The closest thing we get to mathematical, like a proof these days, in mathematics and physics, and of course, particularly that has to be a 5 sigma proof, right? 5 sigma. If you know what that is, go check it out. And of course, that's how they got to the Higgs boson, right? The field that creates that allows so-called atoms to form together. So that is kind of where we are with some of that's about as close as we get. Now, interestingly enough, if you go to artificial intelligence, it's a bit of an off-topic, but artificial intelligence struggles with objective truth, right? And of course, punch you in the nose, you quickly know what that is. So that's a pretty interesting topic as well. Now let's move on there. Obviously, we've got some cool artwork here. I want to pay a big shout out. A big shout out there to one of our community members, just creating some amazing art here for the Kryptonite show. So a big shout out I want to give out to is Next on a Telegram. Big shout out to you. Really do appreciate all the stuff that you're doing. So I don't know if you're watching the show right now, but a big thank you for all the artworks. Fantastic. And if you haven't seen that, you've got to join to the Telegram group, and you'll see a whole ton of artwork around the Kryptonite show, Superman, that Next has done. Fantastic. So big shout out to Next. It really is crazy good. We got two really great artists in our community, and really appreciate both of them there. Kind of cool. All right, so let's get into the third poll. This is the third poll, yeah. Third poll there. Which is the best Richard Hart coin? And that's the title of today's video, right? Today's video there. Which is the best Richard Hart coin? PLSX, incentive, pHEX, eHEX, and of course it's on Pulse Chain here. So far, we've only got 7 votes, so I've just started the poll, and we've got 40 people watching so far. And at the moment, we've got HEX leading. Interesting, eh? Now I couldn't split it out into eHEX and pHEX. So we just got HEX there because it only allows 4 options. So if you're wondering why there's not split out there, that's the reason. But we got 7 votes so far. It just started before the live stream, so you can definitely go out and check that out too. Now I think I did the chicken and egg poll. So let's do the poll of the day, which is best RH coin poll, and we'll post that. And that is it there. All right. So that is it there. Bam. Best RH coin poll. And definitely vote and share that around. That's all I can say. Vote and share that around. All right. So that is pretty much it. We'll see how that ends up tomorrow, and I'll report back on the live stream tomorrow about that. At the moment, HEX is leading 42.9%, but we've only got 7 votes. So it's still very early days on that one. Crypto Cycle says Rack and Michelle, the whale from Pulse Chain, talking about Titanx. Did you see it? No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised. We'll be talking about Titanx today as well. Yeah, that's coming off the bottom, the old Titanx. So RSI is a little hot, but that's definitely looked like it's moving, from the bottom in the old Titanx cycle there. All right, so we got the live stream there. Once again, make sure you repost that as well. And don't forget to get into our Telegram, into Discord. Links are in the video description for that. So that's pretty much some of the polls that we've been doing. So let's get straight into the markets. And here we are today. We've got the stock market doing better than the futures. So the futures were a little bit on the downside, but we've actually done pretty well. So we're going to talk about that. S&P 500 cuts losses to end flat after Q1 economic growth scare. They call it scare, but really the economic growth is under the Biden administration, right? And remember that Trump only got into power on the 20th of January. He's just finished his 100 days, first 100 days. This data is really a result of the flow on from Biden policies. So, we're going to see what Q2 and Q3 look like. And that Trump's laying the foundation, as I say, by the 7th of July. Now, currently, let's have a look at the results. We've got Dow Jones is up at 30%, so a really good finish, 141 points to 40,669. Remember that Dow Jones is a composite of 30 top US industrials, sort of large firms. S&P 500 is up 1,500%, 8 points to 5,569. And the NASDAQ there is just down slightly, 0.1%, 15 points to 17,446. And of course, these are the results for Wednesday. We have got big companies, the Magnificent Seven. You guys heard about that? Those are the 7 big companies in the United States that make, really drive the stock market in the United States. We've got 2 of them with reports after the market close, which we probably got out now, actually, to be honest. We got the US dollar is up slightly. We're at 99.54 versus trading partners. And that's been pretty interesting, right? Because we used to be, when Trump first came in, we were about 108. Very strong US dollar. It's definitely devalued since that point, now under 100. And that's going to make US commodities more competitive, and get better exports, but of course make prices arguably more inflationary for imported goods. So it's kind of interesting there. We got West Texas at the moment, $58 for a barrel of oil, pretty flat today, and Brent oil $61.14, pretty flat as well. But if you look at the 6 months on the old West Texas, you can see we were really high under Biden. Before Trump got in on the 15th, we were at $79. That's before Trump came in, $79. I want to take that in, and now here we are at $58. We're down, we're down $21 on oil is from the Trump already. And so, what's the other key thing? Oil is a key input. Over 90% of goods in the United States, approximately, impacted by oil prices. What about the other big thing? Well, financial markets, right? The money markets. So instead of material goods affected by oil, we got financial digital products affected by the interest rates in the United States. The federal funds rate at 4.25, 0.45%, and that's what Trump's trying to work on, put pressure on the Federal Reserve to move that down. So that's going to be a lot of pressure being held there. So we keep a lookout for interest rates cuts, of course. Inflation is tending down. The 10-year rate's tending down. We've got inversion, I think, happening as well with the shorter-term rate. So we'll see. It should hopefully get another rate cut, and that's really going to make the US a boom because it benefits everybody, right? Householders, loans for corporates. It's very important to boom the US economy. So Trump's going to keep working on that. Now, the US economy, they, of course, contracted in the Q1. The sharp loss in the start of April was prompted by fears that trade tariffs would hit growth in the largest economy. This is the write-up from investor.com, of course, a very left-leaning news site. The US economy unexpectedly contracted in the first quarter. Data released early Wednesday showed the US GDP contracted by 0.3% on an annualized basis during the January to March period. In the fourth quarter, it had grown by 2.4%. Economists had predicted slight expansion at 0.2%. So instead of getting that expansion of 0.2%, we got a contraction of 0.3%. The economy was hurt by a 41% surge in imports in Q1, the most in 5 years, as consumers and businesses pulled forward buying ahead of planned tariffs there. Now, it's interesting that said it got hurt by, I don't know if that's the correct right word for that, but that's what they put in there. Additionally, U.S. private employees added far fewer jobs than anticipated in April, as private payrolls rose by 62,000 this month, slipping from downwardly revised 147 in March. And, of course, earlier this week, the consumer price index dropped to its lowest reading as well. Data showed on Tuesday. The JOLTS job openings also fell to 7.2 million from 7.5 million. Now, the other big thing is US reportedly reaching out to China to stoke further hopes of easing trade tariffs. Now, what's actually going on behind is China, officially they have the big strong stance, but behind the scenes, they're trying to get a deal done because China is in a lot of trouble with potentially factories closing down, all sorts of stuff. In fact, we've got a little video on that, so we're going to play that now. Let's get into this one. In fact, I'm pretty sure I got this one. Actually, I haven't even pulled it in. Actually, let me see if I've got this video to pull in. I thought I'd got them all, but apparently I have not. Let me just quickly scroll through here to see whether I've got it. No, I didn't. I didn't take it down, but that is definitely been done. They got trade talks in behind the scenes, showing interest in discussing tariff-related matters and popular Chinese. So this is from the social media. So the left wing is putting through the Chinese media because the Democrats and the communists are basically the same. Globalist, communists, Marxists, they're all the same part of the same alliance. So not surprised here. Signum had been improving on the hope that the worst of the tariffs announcements made behind the market. Helped by Donald Trump. They're signing 2 orders before the closing of the bell to ease the impact of auto tariffs, offering tax tariff credits and tariff relief on materials. Decision came as Trump visited Michigan, major auto manufacturing hub, just before 5% tariffs on all parts were set to begin. Now, obviously, we saw Ford, I think Ford out there, a CEO on news last night, saying he was very excited about Trump's tariffs. And of course, what it's going to mean for America. Now, of course, I think Ford's kept most of their production in the United States, something like 80%. So I think that's pretty positive. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told CNBC that the US was close to announcing a major trade deal as well. Now, they suspect that the trade deal is either India or Japan, but it does look like India is probably at the front of the line there. And to remember that India and Japan were the first countries that got pulled in by Trump when he became president. And that was to deal with energy selling energy to them, right? They are the big 2 consumers. It was a master move by Trump, and of course the media is just living in la la land. They want to get this criticized, but actually he's just dropping alpha bombs all over the place, and it's heading in the right place. Now Trump also had his big meeting, right? So Trump just had his big meeting there. Now, we're going to get to this in a minute, but Trump had his cabinet meeting, and it was really excellent. Of course, Elon Musk ended up dropping out of that. So that's something that's happened, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Microsoft, of course, we got all the big Magnificent 7 mega cap techs to report this week. So this is going to be a huge week for the stock market, potentially for crypto as well. iPhone maker Apple and Titan, the Amazon, scheduled to unveil earnings after the bell on Thursday. And I don't know if they've actually come out. That's out tomorrow. So we'll get those then. So we're going to have a big week this week, economic news and, the big 7, Magnificent 7 on the stock market. Now, we've got a number of political news. Of course, the cabinet meeting was on today. It was very, very good. Elon is pretty much stepping down from his role in Doge. And we've got a little clip on that. So let's see if I can find that one and play that. We've got Elon here. So this is the one here.
But you have been treated unfairly, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you. And this whole room can say that very strongly. You've really been a tremendous help. You opened up a lot of eyes as to what could be done. And we just want to thank you very much. And, you're invited to stay as long as you want. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars and his... He's done an incredible job. $150 billion. Think of this.
Yeah. It's 160 now.
Yeah, 160. They said, it could have been more. And a lot of stuff is being worked on. That number could be doubled and even tripled. A lot of things are being worked on that we don't count yet because it's not quite there. But you've done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it very much, Elon.
Thank you. And it's also an honor to work with your incredible cabinet. I just like to say thank you, everyone. It's great to work with you.
Thank you.
So that there was Elon Musk there stepping away as a special employee for the US government and on the Doge. His team will no doubt continue on. So 160 billion. Now remember, we had this target at kind of $1 trillion because remember the US federal deficit's about $2 trillion with a trillion in interest costs. So getting $1 trillion out of the federal budget is major. So they're up to 160. Trump, as Trump indicated, may get to double to 3 times that once they firm up other areas of savings. So that might get them potentially up to $500 billion with that $1 trillion still in play. But there are tons of areas where they potentially will find the other 500 billion. So we're going to keep a lookout for that as we move forward. And of course, the other thing, of course, they're running their strategy around the taxes, so to get the economy booming, and also obviously continue to focus on Doge to get the cost down and head towards a balanced budget. That's kind of the first thing that they're wanting to do, and they want to obviously get GDP growth up over maybe 3-4%. So let's see how they go. They may even outperform that. If they outperform that, then game on. The other thing, of course, they're looking at their balance sheet, and that may be one way to deal with the big debt that the US has got of 37 trillion. So these are the two main avenues they're looking forward to, and so it's going to be fun to see that play out as well. Obviously, they're looking at deregulation and regulations. That's going to be huge, particularly for small and medium businesses and banks as well. And so it's going to be awesome for the Midwest and all the places that were neglected. And then thirdly, and the third part of the strategy that Trump's doing is reorganizing the World Trade Order. And of course, that is going extremely well. I cannot say it enough. It's going extremely well. Well over 115 countries lining up for deals. And it looks like we probably will get either India or Japan out first, with the deal probably coming very, very soon. So generally, they'll have a deal making. They'll talk about what they want, give or take. What are you offering? What am I going to take? Etc. And they'll have a sort of a in principle deal, and then they might have a technical deal, and then they'll write up the documents after. That's kind of, I think, the process they're following with these trade deals. And we're going to have one trade announcement. These are going to be wins. They're going to be a big deal coming one after another, and they're going to feed the stock market with good news for quite a bit of time to come, right up until the 4th of July. And of course, that's kind of where those 3 big strategies need to be finished. And Trump will have laid the foundation for his golden crypto and golden America moving ahead. So it's going to be pretty awesome as we see that play out. So that is the old Elon there. Now, Elon, of course, also facing a lot of terrorism from the Democrats and their supporters, obviously burning Teslas and all sorts of stuff like that. And we know that the Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has been, already arrested. I think something like 7 people, and they face 20 years in jail. So that's not, this is not mucking around. They're deterring that. But of course, Elon moving back to focus on his Tesla, probably SpaceX, and probably the, all the other stuff, the government program for the Star Wars program, or whatever they're going to be calling it, the Golden Dome, so whatever they're going to call it. So that is coming up as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. The Boring Company. I mean, it's into so many things, isn't it? And what's this? Skynet as well. Skynet. You just never know. All right, so that's from Elon. Now, the other big thing, of course, is with the tariffs. We see, what do we see? The Democrats trying to block in the Senate, measure to block Trump's tariffs fails in the Senate. And guess how close it is? 49-49. OMG, 49-49. So there we go. SJ Resolution 49, a resolution terminating the national emergency declared to impose global tariffs. Now, as you guys know, to Trump to get around, the pretty much the Senate is to cause a state of emergency and get a lot of these things done. And it's been working like a dream. And looks like they did their best to try and block it, and it has failed. So there we go. Now, as you guys know, Vice President also has the deciding vote, right, if it gets to an impasse there. So 49-49, it has failed, and that is good news. So the tariff, the third part of Trump's strategy, is in place, and of course the negotiation is going to be epic. You see, if they can block that, then Trump won't get all the deals. People can pull back from the deals, and they ruin Trump, and they also ruin America. Democrats don't care about Americans. They only care about indoctrinating them, controlling them, and then of course having them as slaves. That's all they care about. So the vast majority of them have no sensibility whatsoever about America. So they don't care if they burn America. They don't care if they wipe out millions of people. It's all about power. These people are truly wicked people. So just take that note, right? We've got them here. We've got them here in New Zealand. It's a bloodbath here. So wish us good luck here. We don't have any Trump to save us here on this earth here. But that's what's happening there. So pretty bullish around that. So victory after victory for Trump. And another one that they had today was the Ukrainian deal.
Thanks to President Trump's tireless efforts to secure a lasting peace, I am glad to announce the signing of today's historic economic partnership agreement between the United States and Ukraine, establishing the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. This partnership allows the United States to invest alongside Ukraine to unlock Ukraine's growth assets, mobilize American talent, capital, and governance standards that will improve Ukraine's investment climate and accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. The Development Finance Corporation will participate and help to establish this fund in collaboration with the government of Ukraine. Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end. The killing must stop, and both the United States and the government of Ukraine look forward to quickly operationalizing this historic economic partnership for both the Ukrainian and American people. Thanks to
All right, so that's a very positive announcement there. Now, I want to be very clear about how good this is for the United States, because it's really good for the Ukraine ultimately. So it's for the US. It's there's a little bit of benefit in there. Now, obviously, Trump talks about something like $200 billion or so, $250 billion invested in there. But the reality is that they have already surveyed quite a few of the minerals in the Ukraine, and they've proven up a couple of fields that have lithium, right? So lithium there for batteries, electric cars, things like that, cell phones potentially. So they got that, but of course we're moving into other types of forms of batteries with cobalt and hybrids as well. But the thing is, the rare earths. So the rare earths, what everybody's really after, and of course China dominates that. But the rare earths are going to be really, really important. And the fact is, they have not really had any good surveys of rare earths in Ukraine. So if you see stuff about that, that's probably where you've got to be cautious. Lithium, they've already surveyed that, but the rare earths have not been surveyed. So they have really not much idea of how much rare earths are there. There's a couple of little early indicators that there's fields of rare earths, but they really don't know. And of course, there are about just over maybe 14 to 15 different rare earths in the world that are required for modern electronics. And so it's a big, big deal in the modern world, right? Because we live with these electronics. So you need those rare earths in there. So it's positive from that point. Obviously, for development, redeveloping the Ukraine, it's going to be a positive for the Ukraine. Obviously, adding to more defense and more stakeholders there for negotiations, that the US is going to be there as well. And of course, you've seen many of the cities, and villages are bombed away. So it does need to be done. Now, that's the positive. Now, on the pragmatic side, before the war with Ukraine, so 2022, I think it was February, the Russians were saying, hey, we don't want Ukraine in NATO, right? We don't want them going into the European Union. We want this to be a buffer state, to be neutral, essentially. And of course, the Americans weren't having any of it. They weren't even answering the calls from the Russians. And so this is where the war started in February, right? And so the downside, a lot of people don't realize that if the Ukraine actually did go into the European Union, they would be required to take in immigrants from Africa and the Middle East that are flooding into America, into Europe, right? These are not running from wars or terrors. They're just economic migrants that are coming for all the free stuff, right? And you got the Islamics also coming to take over Europe, right? So you got a couple of narratives running there. And so this is a real negative for the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians go off. They probably lost 1 million men, probably another 2 million men that have been wounded, including obviously women and civilians out there. And so it's an absolute bloodbath, right? So it's something that should have been ended a long time ago. And of course, they're going to have to, if they have to open up their borders. So these people go off to fight for their country, their culture. Then they come back home. Let's say the war gets resolved, they come back. If the Ukraine ever got back into the EU and NATO, particularly they would be required to take in the immigrants, and of course, therefore, the country would be invaded anyway. So the Ukrainians are in a lose-lose position if that happens. So the best position for the Ukrainians is the war ends and they don't go into the European Union. That is the best outcome for Ukrainian people. That will protect the culture and, of course, reward the men that have paid blood for freedom and defending their country, right? Now, I think the war's been a pretty pointless war, so it's not one of these ones that you call strategic and fundamental like World War II, for example. But hey, look, this is the way it's playing. We've had very bad people run the United States under the Biden, and of course, in Europe, we've got terrible globalists that don't care about people. They don't care. They'll send people to deaths, and they don't care. And so we're hoping that people wake up. But it seems just like the Canadian vote. It seems like it's taking a bit longer for people. They want a bit more punishment before they get there. And that being said, we did have Polyev, the conservative leader, doing very well 2 months leading in. I think he acted but made a big strategic mistake versus Trump. And so he's paid the price for that. And that said, he's actually done pretty well. He's still got something, I think, like 48%. So there's only a 2% margin between him and the Liberal leader, Carney, that won. Carney, of course, is a full-on globalist, flies around in jets, and then comes in and says, we want net zero. We want to tax you and control where you can move on flying jets. Meanwhile, he flies around freely. So this is what they're like. This is what they're like. You're dealing with a lot of very horrible people in the globalists. And of course, we're in the best chance to fight them back right now, right? We're in the best chance. We've got Trump there. This is the number one. He's the head of the free world. And this is our best chance to fight back in the West. And we're up against the wall. You know, in New Zealand, Australia, we're up against the wall. We're up against big Marxist globalists and the Labour parties and the Liberal parties. I mean, we're really up against it. And of course, America's kind of our only hope. If you think of the Star Wars film, where Princess Leia's going, it's our only hope or whatever, that's kind of where we are at the stage. So Trump really is our only hope there. Now, we do have a few, obviously, conservative alliances in Europe, but it's still a big problem there. And of course, France is still controlled by globalists. And of course, that's split, right? So we saw in Canada the same strategy that we saw in the French elections. That is basically the Marxists joined together with the globalists, and they block the conservatives and the moderates, right? So they get blocked. We saw that in Canada as well, where basically the Green parties, the left wing, basically drop their candidates so that all their votes will go to the Liberal Party, and then take the win. They just snapped it by 2%, even though Polyev did very well. They snapped it by 2%. Now, we may still see some issues there in Canada in the next year, but we'll see how that goes as well. So that's some of the big politics stuff that we're happening at the moment. So yeah, it's still a big fight, and we've got to push back where we can. If you want freedom, that is very, very important, because they will enslave you in many, many ways. These globalist Marxists, they are terrible people, and destroy the economy. So they're going to make your economy. Our economy is on the deep dive. Our economy is going down. Like I say, we're in big trouble here in New Zealand. Now, we're also being invaded and taken over as well. So it's pretty much a bloodbath here. But wish us luck. Wish us luck. Bring on the crypto, as we say. Bring on the crypto. Titan X on a pulse chain. We've got Crypto Cycles in the house there. Big shout out. And we've got Gugod in the house as well. A good morning, Kings. We've got Gugod there leading the Kings charge for the Kings community. Big shout out for that. Now, I do have one more item here, so we're going to get into that. We haven't talked about politics for a little bit, so it's a nice little catch up on that. And bam, let's go. So we had 3 items here. Let's get into crypto, though, and let's see how we're getting on today. We're still sitting over $3 trillion in crypto, 3.05 trillion, down 1.7% today, though. And let's have a look at Bitcoin, 94,229. That's pretty good. You guys got to be pretty happy with that. That's holding up very nicely indeed. It is only up 0.1% today, but still it is looking pretty solid at 94. Remember, our peak, our all-time high and our local high was 109,000. So we are still not bad from there. We bounced off 77. So yeah, we're sitting pretty well there, I think. Now, Ethereum at the moment is just below 1,800. Ethereum, of course, has been struggling. We've got the big EIP upgrades. I think it's on the 7th of May, and that is up 0.2% today. XRP is sitting at $2.20, down 1.7% at number 4. BNB is number 5. It is at $600. Is up 0.1%. We've got Solana at number 6. Is up 2.1%. We've got the number 8 there is Dogecoin, and that is down 0.5%. Cardano at 68 cents is down 1.2% at number 9, and number 10 is Tron, sitting at just under 25 cents at 1.7%. So the best performer in the last 24 hours has been Solana. In terms of the last week, well, they're all pretty much down a couple of percentage points, apart from Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is really in the top 10, is the only one that's up over the last 7 days, up 0.5% there from Bitcoin. Now, looking at the top 100, we've got Fartcoin at number 1 over the last 24 hours, up 10.9%. Curve is at up 11.6%. Actually, the 24-hour, I don't know why, it doesn't work on my filter for some reason. We're going to jump straight to the 7-day, because at least that seems to be working. We got Virtual last 7 days is up 99%, so 2x on that. in the last week. We've got Wildcoin up 32%, number 2. Bonk up, number 3 up 29%. Floki is up 26%. I don't think we've seen Floki up there for a little bit. It's up 26%. And Monero, good old Monero there. Let me know in the chat if you guys are mining Monero. Does that still do that? People still do that? I think they do. Up 20% there, and that is Monero at number 5. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to a couple of these others. Artificial intelligence, super intelligence, up 18.4% for the week. Sue up 18%, and Fartcoin, they're up 15% for the week. So there we go. There are some of the moves and shakers. Some of the top gainers: Alpaca Finance up 107%, and BuySwap. Hey, good old BuySwap, man. BuySwap there. What's that, like Tron, eh? Tron. I'm pretty sure it's Tron. That's up 77% there, and Flamingo Finance up 60%. I wonder why BuySwap has suddenly got pumped 77%. Let me know in the chat if you guys know. Now, trending, we've got Varna Chain. That's up 5.5%. Alpaca Finance trending, and Housecoin is trending as well for some reason. They're all trending as well. So that's kind of the market at the moment. So yeah, and you guys know, gold's probably a 10x from here, just to convert from the gold market cap. So 3 trillion become close to 30 trillion. Could be pretty epic, right? So bring it on. And that would make it 10x there. That'd make Bitcoin, $900,000 Bitcoin. So bring that on too. What else there? We got Peso doing house there. How's everyone doing? You are all missing. You are all awesome, he says. Missed you. Hey, good to see you, Peso dude. Big shout out to you. And guys, see you back in the chat there. Not Goo God says, I own Cubic. They're mining Monero. Okay, cool. So yeah, they're mining Monero, the old Cubic there. That's a good insight there. So big shout out for that. Yeah, that used to be, Monero was big in mining. It was one of the big mining things. I haven't actually looked at it for a while. The old mining. There's mining platforms you can go on and you can get involved in that, as well as setting up your own rigs. People have these little miners for Bitcoin. They sit there and they're trying to mine a Bitcoin. I don't know how successful those are, but it's a fun space for the miners. Miners a whole segment of crypto that people pretty much live and breathe. You can watch a lot of YouTubers setting up mining rigs and all that sort of stuff. It's a pretty fascinating part of crypto, to be honest. Yeah, visit every so often. I visit Sarah done there. Now, people obviously can do not just mining, but validating now, for blocks. So they can do all sorts of stuff these days. So kind of cool. Let's jump into some of the news in crypto. Robinhood and his merry men, Maid Marian, all that sort of stuff. We got Robinhood tops quarterly profit estimates as volatile fuels trading volumes. So volatility fuels trading. What did I say? Volatility fuels trading volumes surge. So Robinhood is making money. So that's good news for crypto. Retail trading platform Robinhood's first quarter profit more than doubled. Can you believe it? That's amazing results. And bet analyst estimates on Wednesday, driven by a surge in trading volumes from clients looking. Of course, I'm going to screen this up. It's a little bit short there, a little bit small. The company, what have we got there? We got driven by surge in trading volumes from clients looking to hedge their positions amid choppy markets. The company's transactions-based revenue or income generated from fees facilitating trades and options, cryptocurrencies and equities jumped 77% in the quarter. Majority of the gains came from a 100% jump in crypto trading activity as Bitcoin remained choppy during the quarter. Donald Trump, of course, a trade policy had triggered volatility across asset classes during the first 3 months of the year, benefiting platforms such as Robinhood, boosting the trade activity. And this is from the CEO, Vladimir Tenev. We're diversifying the business outside of crypto, which will make us less reliant on crypto transaction volume in the future. And we've seen a lot of the CeFi or centralized exchanges moving into offering stocks. So they're really taking over the old, TradeFi markets, I guess. So it's been a big move. So, crypto, it's going to be pretty epic. Revenue from option trading climbed 56% and from equities surged 44%. So option trading and equities. And of course, net interest revenue, the bulk of that comes from let me say that again. Net interest revenue, the bulk of which comes from margin investing, jumped 14% to 290 million. Total platform assets jumped 70% over the last year to 221 billion, with record net deposits of 18 billion. Customers not only trading more with us, but they are trusting us with more of their assets. So, it's takeover by the centralized exchanges, by CeFi, and of course, a lot of that will, flow into DeFi over the market cycle. Next income attributable to common stockholders came in at 336 million. So that was pretty good there. Analysts are pretty excited about that. Let me jump through any of this other stuff. They got a premium services membership program, and the subscribers doubled to nearly 3.2 million for the premium service membership. So that's a pretty good method there. If you're a founder in a protocol, maybe some of these premium service membership type programs could be a cool part of your tokenomics, with food for thought. It seems to be one of the models that seems to do well. But you still got to do a lot of promotions and work like that to get that happening. And of course, you can contact us here on the Kryptonite Show, and of course our promotional lead MVS if you need help with doing promotions. So contact us today. Hit us up in Telegram or Discord, and we're there. All right, so that's pretty much it. So kind of cool. Let's get into the Pulse Chain now, and we're going to get into the results for Pulse Chain. Day 720, can you believe it? And of course, the days just rolled over about 47 minutes ago. So kind of cool. I don't know if this is yesterday. Was yesterday 719? Maybe it was 719. But we're on day 720 now. I think 719 was the day we just finished. But we're sitting at quadruple 029, down 3% on Pulse. So we've slowly been slipping the last couple of days, if you noticed that, by about 2-3%. PulseX there down 2.4% at quadruple 0231. The buy and burn, though, doesn't care. It just keeps going up. 1,394 billion, and we're sitting at 7.06% of the public supply of PulseX has now been bought up and burned. Incentive token there, $1.21, is down 3%, and the inflation there is sitting at 55 million approximately. Remember, there's only 0.03 ink per second emitting now, and that's about 20x less than what it used to be. Although I saw someone else post some other number, but I don't think that's the case. And we're sitting about 2,600 incentive tokens created per day, so very, very low here at the moment. So kind of cool. We've got HEX at the moment is sitting at 58/100th of a penny on pHEX, down 2.63%, and eHEX there is actually up from yesterday. So it was at 0.2 of a penny, now at 21/100th of a penny, and the combined price EX and pHEX is at 79/100th of a penny, so just below 0.8 of a penny there. All right, so that is the markets. Let's go to the gas prices. We got pretty good low gas prices yesterday and today. We're under 1 million beats, so only a 1 cent for a PulseX swap. So get out there and do your trades. And of course, validators, we're sitting at 49,863 validators, and the bridge, which is our health check, is sitting at 84.3 million, which I think is pretty similar to yesterday, isn't it? Pretty similar to yesterday. I think that is the case. Now, we have big news, of course, not just from Richard Hart around the egg and the chicken controversy, but we also have Dipcatcher here adding value to eHEX. And of course, you guys know I've been a big fan of eHEX. I like both eHEX and pHEX, and they've got different drivers, but they've also got similar drivers as well, because they're basically HEX. But we've got definitely some big things happening here with Dipcatcher. Progress towards FlexNex is launched. So that FlexNex launch, he's so far raised 125,000 raised by the community. Remember, it's $50 at the moment, I think, per unit or Flex card or whatever it is. And it's going to go up to 100 soon. So we'll talk about that. Now, so they've raised 125K, so it's pretty cool. They're heading in the right direction. Teams often need capital to, build out their whole program. This is going to be a second layer protocol on Ethereum using eHEX, and it's a massive use case for eHEX, and it's going to be burning eHEX as far as I tell. So Flex token wrapped, so it's wrapped HEX, so your HEX is just getting wrapped. So I don't think you have to worry about it too much, losing your HEX, for example, just get stuck in a wrapped HEX contract and tested. Testnet deployment preparations are underway. Conversations with various Explorer providers and bridge infrastructure experts are underway as well. Obviously, connecting that up and being able to see the data on chain. Next step is testnet deployment. So that's coming up, originally scheduled for Friday, but people will have been asking for extra days after Friday pay period, so may extend to Monday. So there we go. An angel round is open at the moment, $50 per owner unit. It will increase to $100 once testnet is live. So you've got a few more days to get in there on that, $50 there as well. Now, teams have got no other ways of raising capital to get these big projects up and running. So that's probably the way to look at this. We don't have any, besides, a couple of whales like Rack and Michelle and Firewhale, we don't have too many people that are going to, throw money at these things. And so really it's a retail raising. So this is kind of the opportunity that you might get. So that is FlexNex coming. Second layer protocol on Ethereum. I think it's going to be a great opportunity there. And of course, you must do your due diligence there. So big shout out to Dipcatcher on that one. So that is coming out there. Now, I'm going to post a link to that if you guys want to show him some love. Put your comments, ask any questions, all that good stuff. There, that is FlexNet. FlexNet. And bam, you can check that out. Now, we've got a couple more comments in the chat as well. Big shout out. Now, if you're watching, we've got a good crowd watching, so don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. That is the link to FlexNex there from Dipcatcher, one of our best developers on the Pulse chain ecosystem. Obviously, there's on ETH chain though, but I think it's a good idea. Scriptosocrates says Eros on the bridge, connecting two great communities. We've got Eris and a Tight Next. Yeah, we're coming up to that, migrating the Tight Next coins to the huge community on Pulse Stream. Driving the man, big shout out there. And what else? We got the Dark Horse in the house there. Yeah, like one of my favorite memes, right? Dark Horse, you guys know. And I'd love the imagery there. And a big shout out to Next again for some of that. So big shout out there. Dark Horse Official is in the house. It's great to have the founders in the chat there. All right. So that's kind of cool. Let's jump into the rest of the markets there. We've got obviously some big movers. As you guys know, Richard talked about the egg and the chicken. Well, someone launched an egg token. Surprise, surprise. 7 hours ago, someone launched this. It's up 200%, and it is number one at the moment on Pulse Chain. And it's probably a pump ties is my guess. I haven't looked at it, but it probably is. And here we are at 0.00044. In fact, we can copy this and we can go have a look on 9mm, and I'm sure it'll probably show us. So let's go, bam. And have a look there. Egg. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Looks like we got a billion there, so it looks like a pump tires there. Now, though that's been rallying pretty hard, it has some pretty big volatility. But it's currently at 0.044. It's got 16k liquidity, 103k volume, 422 makers. In the last hour, still seems to be going up with net buying there on all the time frames. $44,000 market. We'll see. A bit of a playful thing. You shall find out. A short-lived thing based on one post of Richard Hart. You know how it works. Now, we got gas money. That has been around for 18 days. Gas Pulse. And, of course, that's been up 90%. It's our best printer performance at the moment. And look at that big pump we had in the last 24 hours. And it's been up the last 2 days. So off the bottom there. Let's have a look at the daily. That is the chart there right now. So coming off the bottom, is it? At 1/10 of a penny, now at 1400th of a penny. That is the old printer there. And of course, you earn what do you earn on Pulse? You pin 555 and you're on your way to earning gas money. So it looks like you, and so when you fill up on Pulse, I guess that's the play. So that is gas money. Oh, is that gas station? No, gas station. Sorry, gas station. And we've got ALGO at the moment on the back of HEX, right? That's up 8%. Teddy Bear, this is OG. This is James Maria's Teddy Bear. That's up 7% there. In fact, how's that looking at the moment? Big community, right? One of the big communities on Pulse Chain, and that is sitting at 8/0/4760 at the moment. So it hasn't made a break yet, but it's kind of teasing it a little bit. RSI is pretty not oversold, but it's pretty low at 838, and so maybe that's going to have a move up at some stage. Now we've got two competing Teddies now, haven't we? We've got Bear, which is the OG one, and we've got Teddy Takeover from which is supported by Big Moon King out there. But that is not on the leaderboard today. Incognito up 1% there as well. UpX is up 2.4% on the back of Pulse, and Pepe, the meme coin, pump tires up 5%. Savant there, another of the printers. So we've got two printers there, the gas station and Savant there is up 6.8%. Now, Savant was actually rallying. It was like $1.30. It's been sold down since we're doing the live show, and it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. But that is, we're up at what, $1.20. We're now at $1.05. So we'll see where that goes with the old Savant. And that plays PLSX, right? PLSX, when it looks at, yeah, PLSX. So you can check out that description. What else we got there? Incognito. That's doing pretty well, up 1.5%. So we've only got a few making a bit of green today. So probably the lowest day I've seen for a long time, actually. But this is Incognito in the house. And what do they got? The 0.5% fee is burn on every buy and sell. There we go. And 1/6 of these fees are allocated to buy and burn ink. So it's burning ink out there. Richard Hart's ink, of course. So that is a Incognito. What else? We got Chords, one of the pump tires. Kings of the Orion. I think there's pump tires for sure. 1%. Yep. PDC the Grey's been making a bit of a move, and as you guys know, I consider that one of the better projects to get into. That's up 0.5% today. So let's have a quick look at the PDC the Grey's there. Big shout out as always to Prairie Banana. If you want to get into that, definitely check out Prairie Banana. And we're up at 0.0022500 at the moment on PDC, right off the bottom still. But making a nice consolidation here before the next break, no doubt. So it's kind of cool. Let's have a look at the weekly on here, and we'll go full chart mode. There we go. So yeah, it's heading up all in the right direction. Nice little bounce off that. Look at that. We had resistance there at 1750, and now we're moving back up here. So this is going to go for another tier up to the right side there. It really is doing pretty well. All right. So and the RSI is pretty low. So nice amount of room there. Sparta, of course, with the buying the HEX and burning the Sparta, that is up 0.5% there. Dominance, another printer token, that's up a 30% there. BBC token from 9-inch, the incentive token there up a third, and Teddy token over here. So we have got the other Teddy. We have got the other Teddy around, Teddy OG or Bear token, And Teddy Tug over here, Teddy Bear, is up, but is doing pretty well at 63. And I'm fairly bullish about this project as well, with the fact that it's got Moon King and other big influencers supporting it. But he is the big king there, pretty much the biggest following, 110,000 on X, and so it's pretty cool. And also they had all those other tokens, right? That some associated developer or something. I don't know the background, but that is doing pretty well on the daily. A nice green candle after 4 days of red. Nice rebound, but we've had good support around this 5,900 here. So I'm looking good there. And the RSI has only just begun really on the daily. We're at 53, so I've got lots of room to move for this. This may very well hyper pump. And well, now there is quite a bit of consolidated holdings, like large holdings, but I guess true for not all coins, but a lot of coins. Crow at the moment is up a little bit there, and UFO is also. So we've got PTC and UFO. They're sort of paired together. That is up as well, just very slightly, but pretty even. Some honorable mentions that are actually in the red. Fetch Oracle, Liquid Loans, they're both together, which is pretty interesting. We haven't seen those together for a while. They're both down slightly, but that's ticking away there. What else? We got HEX, of course, the original HEX as well in the mix there. Another Monomics there, another of the printer tokens from AG WebChef. What else there? 9inch, the actual one. So we got the BBC token up here, and then we got 9inch down here. They're ticking away. So it's all down at the moment. So we've got another printer token. Remember, down 1%, so not too bad. We've got Firewell, one of the pump tires there, kicking in there. Doubt token, another pump tires. We've got Solid X, another of the pump tires, but no, this is the OG one. Sorry, the yellow one is OG. That's been over for a year, and this is the one that's going to be burned by X Game Profits. So that's the one you want to maybe look at. And then we've got PulseX and incentive token there as well. So those are kind of the ones that are kind of moving around on Pulse Chain today. Pretty quiet day, as we can see. There's not a lot of big movers that we've been seeing most days on the old Pulse Chain, and that's going to lead us into you guys. Is what Titanx. We're going to talk Titanx now. Titanx on Ethereum, because it seems to be coming off the bottom, finally off the bottom there of wave 2. And we have our second minerals deal, says Tortoise Johnny. Nice. Trumpzilla says TJ. Trumpzilla. Nice one there. Big shout out there to TJ. All right, so let's get back into it. And if you've got any more comments, definitely get in the chat there. We're going to go through Titanx, which seems to be making some moves. Now, it had a little bit of a pullback yesterday, just across some of them, very subtle ones. But it does seem to be holding that 901,000. That's the key first milestone, right, to get over there. We can see it's kind of on a 15-minute chart. I don't know what's defaulted 15-minute, but we're defaulting here, and we can see the sort of zigzag pattern on the 15-hour. We're currently at 6 zeros and 1,900 in the US dollar price for Titanx. Let's go to the daily, and you can see this is we had the wave 1. We got 10x. We came all the way down pretty incredibly. It came down all the way down to 6 zeros at 10,082. And sorry, 6 zeros, 10,082, and now we're up off the bottom there. So from 1082, we're now at 6 zeros. Sorry, what did I say? 6 zeros, 1082. We're now at 6 zeros, 1900. So we've come off the bottom. That's pretty clear in the chart there. We're pretty much at this horizontal resistance, as you can see. So that's going to be pretty important. Let me just get the log chart in there. Pretty much at the horizontal resistance. And we did pierce it slightly. And so it does feel pretty good that we're going to probably move up to the upside there. Let's add in the RSI. As you guys know, it's your best friend in crypto. So add it to the mix. We can see we did get a little bit over bought there. Over 70 is overbought. And it's just come back to quiet down a little bit there. So we're going to see where it might head with the 4 hourly. We're going to go to a shorter time frame. We see we've definitely come down 59. So what we might see is a bit of consolidation in the zone before it makes the next big move. But I do think that it's on the move up. So that's kind of the play there. Now, looking at the ratio to ETH, which is more important actually than the US dollar price. How's it performing versus ETH? Well, we can see the zigzag here as well, but it's actually slightly more elevated, a bit more positive. And we'll go to the daily time frame, have a look at that, and we'll log this chart so you can see the comparison there. So as you can see on the ETH ratio, definitely has moved up quite strongly and has actually moved to a slightly higher high. Got up about quite a bit away there. What's that? 7 to 11. So we lost the zero. Went from 10 zeros, 7,100, let's say, to 9 zeros, 1150, and now we're currently at 9 zeros, 1050. So still holding that, losing that 1 0. So pretty important to hold that. Now we can't do an RSI on this ratio, but definitely we've beaten out some horizontal lows here on the daily. So these were lower lows, right? We kept on coming down lower lows on this downtrend. and we've definitely beaten out 2 of those already. So it's pretty positive, I think. Now, hopefully we'll just consolidate here a little bit there. Let's have a look at the 4-hourly. See how that's looking. So the 4-hourly there, we've got a nice little consolidation happening at the moment. If we can kind of hold this 9 zeros line, I think that's going to be pretty positive, right? If we're going to kind of hold this line here, be pretty positive. Now, probably another way of looking at this is the Fibonacci. And so, if we had something like that, if we can hold this 32.8, 38.2, sorry, and that's at 10 zeros, 9,900. So more or less 1,000. That's a pretty bullish sign. So we can sort of, consolidate here. We can get ready for that next move up. That's kind of my view on that. Now, the other one, of course, is DragonX. Has already been on a run. DragonX has been on a run for some time. And this is from Eric, right? You guys know Eric, a very well-respected dev out there and founder. And this has been pretty much moving off the bottom quite nicely here. So this is the US dollar price. And we're already up quite a bit there, over 200% rally in 3 weeks. So it's already on the move, right? So we're up at 3x already in 3 weeks. 3x in 3 weeks. That's great marketing. But yeah, we're already up there pretty strongly. We've moved off 6 zeros, 8,300, and now at 5 zeros, 2,500. So we've lost a zero as well. Now that's just the US dollar ratio. The TitanX ratio has been absolutely awesome. And we can see that on the daily. So look at that. That is pretty impressive. And no surprises here. It is pretty cool. So we got 107% increase there in 41 days. And the ratio there has been up. So TitanX has moved up. And of course, the ratio of DragonX to Titan has moved up. So you got a bigger move there in the US dollar price. So we're up 13 to 13.1. The ratio is all the way down at 6.3 TitanX per 1 DragonX. Now it's at 1 DragonX is worth 13. So it's over double now. Pretty impressive, right? And they've got lots of good things coming from the DragonX team. So that's, pretty awesome. Now, TitanX and DragonX, the buy and burns have both turned off. So, as you guys know, the V1 for TitanX is huge. And last time I checked, it was like 95% or something of the collateralized backing with a buy and burn. So it's not just a DAO, it's a buy and burn. It's actively can buy the token up. So we'll be looking for that. I don't suspect we'll get any of these really used until there's a trigger point. I think that probably both Jack and Eric are probably both a bit surprised at the downward sentiment and where we are in the marketplace. So we're still waiting for that banana part of the market. And so we'll probably have to wait for that to really pick up. And we're seeing early signs of that right now before we really get that rally. Some people are calling mid-May pretty bullish. And of course, we start getting these big trade deals out any time now, probably the end of this week, probably next week is probably when we start getting them, presumably. We may get one on before the end of the weekend, we'll see. But we get India and Japan and these big trade deals, then the market's just only going to go up, up, up and away. So yeah, we've got a little countenance with some of the short-term economics. But I think we're going to head pretty in the right directions. The market prices in the future, right? They'll say, well, if we get enough bullish stuff pricing in the future, then that's going to be pretty good. Now, some of the other ones there, Hyper and Hydra, the buy and burns are turned off as well. As you guys know, that Hydra is based on DragonX. DragonX is based on TitanX. So you win twice potentially, unless, of course, you've got big sellers in Hydra that sell back into DragonX. But that's true also for DragonX and TitanX, right? So that's always a thing. But I think that's probably going to do pretty extremely well. If the ratio of the DragonX goes up, you win extra, right? You win extra there as well. And the buy and burns are turned off for Hyper and Hydra, and they're also highly collateralized. So those are the 4 magic ones, right? The big buy and burns, and it's going to be game on for that. Now, we've also got Helios and Volt and Inferno. These are 3 big players in their teams in the TitanX system. These are all probably going to do extremely well. Inferno in particular has got a very high burn, and so is Volt's actually pretty good too. So we're going to see some exciting stuff happening here. Helios, of course, going omni-chain as well. So we're going to get a lot from these teams, and they're probably teams to follow with a lot of their innovation. So we've got the dude for Helios. We've got the crazy scientist, Stevie D for Volt, and then we've got the Crypto Utah and the rest of the gang there for Inferno. So pretty exciting stuff happening there. Brings us down to Morpheus. Morpheus, of course, got Brandon from formerly Rags Riches. He's got his own development team. He's also helping Cryptographics, the big influencer, and he's going pretty much multi-chain with his dexes, V3 dexes, and they're doing very well. It's performing very well. This is based on the back of DragonX. So Morpheus, it's at 0.28. So if you get a ratio advantage there, that's also going to be pretty good. Let's have a quick look at that ratio, see how that's performing versus DragonX. And we're going to go to the daily here on the old Morpheus. well, so far it's kind of moving sideways, but I suspect it's going to do pretty well with the scaling up of their DEX as well and swapping. So it's going to be pretty cool. DEX swapping at least. AMM, Paul. I've got to double check, but DEX here. Swapping platform in any case. We've got what else? Matrix down 10% at the moment. Tink Farms is another one we've been watching. So this is up 3 cents. So this is if this goes up higher, you see liquidity gets better and the yields go up. So the yields have been going up, and this attracts more capital, right? So it's a vicious cycle to the upside, just like it is on the downside, where people are earning, and it's actually doing pretty well. The burning's going pretty well for this, and Tink is on the rise as well. So this will raise the yields in the Tink farm, and we can see that's come off the bottom as well. So it bounced off pretty much 1.5 cents, 1.6 cents. Now up at 3 cents, and the farm itself, the yields have all gone up because of the high price. So that means more capital goes in, and it becomes a vicious circle. And as soon as this, as soon as TitanX and all the rest of them take off, then Tink Farm's going to take off too. And it's all just a vicious value ladder, right? Element 280 done pretty well, and it's gone omni-chain. I think we saw down here, Element 280 or E280. So that's gone, looks like it's gone to base chain already. So it's doing pretty well. What else we got going on here? We've got Baby Dragon X. Baby Dragon X might be doing pretty well on the back of, Baby Dragon X here might do pretty well on the back of Dragon X pumping. So that might be something to look out for. We talked about the Tink Farm. We talked about Element 280 going to base chain. I think it's gone to base chain. And what else we got that I'm going to talk about here? Uranus, of course, the first one to go to base chain, and this is at 2.21. This has performed very well, particularly while Pulse Chain's been down, and it's 2.21. Remember, the mint was 1-to-1, so it's 2.21 at the moment. I think it's been as high as about 3.5 or something. So this is performing very well over on base chain. And of course, Ouroboros with USDX performing like a boss. Their kind of modified liquidity fork is at $1, doing pretty well. And then we've seen a lot of these new tokens, B88, S88, 428, E280. And these are doing pretty well also. And I think these are all on base chain, if I remember rightly. You can double check, but that's doing pretty well there as well. Now, I'm going to post the link to TitanX Hub if you want to check all these out. And we got Crypto Cycle says TitanX ecosystem protocol coins migrate over the bridge to Pulse Chain. Pulse guys want to buy the TitanX green. That's right. So this is going to be happening as well. So we're obviously seeing moving over to base chain, but also we're getting things happening over to Pulse Chain. This is very bullish with the TitanX connection, and there are a lot of shared investors in both communities, right? So that's why we're covering it as well. Check out Rectum is tweeting a lot about TitanX right now. That's some name that he's got there. That's some name. All right. So let's move down at bottom here. Now, obviously, what's coming up big time? Stevie D from the old vault has got Bitcoin Genie. Really excited to see that get launched. That's going to be pretty soon. And of course, Taurus there from Cryptographics, big Pulse Chain TitanX influencer, and now founder of a protocol. This looks pretty exciting too, especially with the way it's set up to drive demand. And this was developed by Brandon, another Pulse Chain TitanX influencer out there doing some great stuff. And so we've got some really fun stuff happening here. So influencers don't just make their own tokens; they're actually building protocols. And it's great to see some of these sort of bigger influencers getting into the space there. So and Brandon's team, which has got a great development team, built the Taurus one. So we're looking forward to those. And we've got quite a few other projects on the list here. So that is pretty much it for the TitanX ecosystem market cap, 62 million. So it's definitely gone up quite a bit. And users have crossed the 20,000 mark, finally hit that mark. It was like stuck at 19.8 thousand, remember? 9,800 for ages. Now it's finally got over 20K. So good news there. And of course, on the next cycle up, it's likely to really start ramping up those users. And of course, it's been ranked in the top Ethereum, like number 3, I think it was yesterday for TitanX. So it's starting to get that limelight again as well. We may very well see during the bull market the Ethereum top 10, top 20 get flooded with all these tokens. I kid you not, because of the way they're set up. The weakness becomes the strength, and the buy and burns turn on. And of course, Jake Sharp there is rolling out Omnichain. Eric is rolling out his own products for DragonX and ecosystem, as well as multi-chain as well. I think they're playing big time on other chains like Sonic and other chains. So we're going to see quite an expansion. Base chain, Pulse chain, Sonic chain, other chains like that with this ecosystem development. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting. And we're seeing some innovative products, which we're going to talk about soon. I think Crypto Cycles here talking about migrating these tokens over to Pulse chain. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening there as well. So stay tuned for some alpha drops around that. All right, so that is kind of where we are with the old pulse chain. Lots of things happening. Yeah, get ready. It's just cooking. Just cooking for the golden age of America, the golden age of crypto, and we're going to get that banana part of the bull market. It is coming up, and yeah, bring on Bitcoin 150, 250K, maybe 400K. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got Frank White in the house there. Hey, glad to catch you live again. What's it? Good night from East Coast, USA. Hey, big shout out there, Frank. I hope you're having a good time there, and rest up for tomorrow's a new day, a new dawn will unfold. All right, take care, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We are streaming on, of course, Superman Crypto and the Crypto Night Show. And we're also streaming on Rumble. Don't forget to follow over there. We're also streaming on X. Don't forget to follow there. And of course, let's share this channel around. So hit the repost, hit the share button, and definitely smash the likes. And that will really be helpful. Onwards and upwards. A big shout out to my team, MVS out there. Big shout out to promotional leads. If you want to hit us up for promotions, get us head up there. We're kind of the professional service now in PulseChain, and we're filling a big market gap we feel is there. We look for win-win outcomes there, so definitely join up today if you want to hit us up, either MVS or myself on Telegram or Discord. And of course, we're also just expanding our reach. So that's been going very well. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up. You don't want to miss out. Join our community. Discord links are in the video description. Join Strategy Club. Join Telegram. Get involved. And it's onwards and upwards from here. We really are going to have an incredible next 3 to 4 years under Trump. It's going to be beautiful. And you guys are all here to share. And you're nice and early. So bring it on. Accumulate. It's going to be, you don't want to be that guy that says, oh, damn it, I got so far out, I missed out. And so you don't want to be that guy. Bring it on. All right. So take care, everybody. I'll catch you on the next show. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.